An agenda? Yep, that was it. Get a pretty copy, I guess. I'm gonna try and get you on the agenda for next time you guys meet, but I want you guys to have her so you know.
So what are you gonna buy? What are y'all buying?
The street here is gonna be, probably about a mile and a half, right before you 35 on the south side. So, pretty big place,
All right. Go ahead and call this very extended meeting, Cook County Commissioners Court to order. We do have and if we could have a prayer, please.
Now, gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and this opportunity to come before you, Lord. We just thank you for this beautiful day that you've made, coming off our Memorial Day weekend, where we stop to honor and revere those who sacrificed so much for the freedoms we enjoy here in America. Father, we thank you for this court, the Commissioner's Court. We thank you for our county judge and each commissioner, their staff and helpers. Lord, here today, we just humbly ask for your presence, your spirit to be here amongst them. Give them a spirit of wisdom, discernment, fellowship, and unity as they carry out the people's business. Lord, we lift up our country to you, our representative leadership in Washington, Lord, and just ask you to lead, guide, and direct them in all that they do. Again, we thank you for this beautiful day in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag, pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
How's everybody?
Well, we're just going to clear and trade, trying to keep the roads passable after the storms come through and, got a little too much water on the roads to do anything with them today, so we're, trying to get coordinated with, ESD wanting to have a fire truck on the scene. We're gonna find a big brush pile with that. Hopefully we get that burnt down because of all the trees that we've had to collect. It's got pretty big.
We had a lot of wind.
Same thing as, had reports of some trees in the road this morning, very large trees, so they'd go get the big loader to try to remove it out of the road and, rise up and go back to Holland Rock and beating the roads back up again. Rise up a little bit, maybe try to get a few roads bladed tomorrow.
Pretty much same thing, had a couple of trees down yesterday, we had to go move and just got them out of the roads, the guys are out getting them out of the water ditches this morning, cleaning them up. Taking the rest of the roads, trying to find some other trees down.
She's in charge.
Something wrong with us. Said we didn't have any trees down, nobody taught us on our trees. I did, the rest of it.
You have that?
Lucky you.
Still
Still falling.
For the county judge's office, we've got, the insurance folks working on some of our claims. We've got some windows that were busted out from the last hailstorm. I know the Huron Annex has got some leaks going, so we've got that work in the works. Thanks, Sheriff. But besides that, I think everything else is great. We had a good Memorial Day weekend. Everybody was safe. no craziness on the lake, we did pass the fireworks deal. I didn't hear of any crazy, yeah, I didn't hear of any crazy fires from the fireworks, so that was a success for sure, so. Anyway. All right.
I just want to know when I'm singing happy birthday.
Right now.
Now,
How three. One, two, three.
I feel like
Happy
music.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Shay. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you.
That's it.
Never again. Never again.
I've got it on my calendar.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, 26. No. That's right. VSDs.
We're doing good. We're looking at those on property soon, so
Awesome.
get done. You guys brief on everything.
That'll be wonderful. Constables.
Papers for me. I went from single digits to low the 530s at the end of the week. It's just tax season upon us and it's getting over that now. He's getting all the papers and I'm not.
I'm sure you're upset. Miss Susan?
We're doing good. We got our final thing to the auditors for the audit report, so. You know, hopefully that will get generated here pretty quickly. So,
Awesome.
Thought we were gonna have it this month.
well, if I couldn't get it done this month till we had to finish our last thing to get to them, so. We had a lot of fixed assets last year that we went through.
I think you were talking about 2024s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about the other. The
As
outside.
of 2024, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, okay. I think.
Hey, yeah, Judge, I was out at the TAC conference last week, down in Georgetown, which is pretty informative, but. Melissa and Wendy were able to get all the day shift as far as the new ADTs for the sheriff's office, all the day shift is done. Should be finishing up night shift, which should complete it, this week.
Awesome.
This week. So,
Awesome.
thanks, good progress done.
Miss Taylor?
I'm great. Congratulations. It's busy time.
Busy time. Sheriff, you got anything?
All is good. Was gonna flood line next to the building, but we didn't worry about flood.
All right.
And they count steady. Had a little bit of radio problem, I'll let him talk about that.
Yeah. I saw you on a tower.
Yeah.
On the weekend.
Yeah, no, somehow water got in the line and I can't explain how. Just cause. Anyways, we had to replace the entire line going to at the EOC on the tower. And sealed it up, really, a lot of recessing, silicone.
We appreciate you. I know if he was out there on the weekend. Up in the air, which I don't do, so high in the air. I'm allergic, so thank you very much.
When there's lightning.
Yeah. Which there was plenty of this. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. Action on minutes, invoice, payroll, monthly report, revenue, disbursements. I'll go back to that one. And observe and record elected officials training.
Make a motion?
All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. So. As pointed out, I skipped open forum. If anybody is here for open forum. This is your time. Oh, Mr. Westmoreland, come on up.
Nothing major, just want to let you guys know there's a pretty good sized branch down on the north side of the courthouse. We've
Yes.
got maintenance coming up this morning to handle it.
I appreciate it. So we have discuss interaction on employee wage status, wage change and wage status. We have some new hires, Michelle Fletcher, Casey Carroll, Jennifer Ryan, Christopher Amos, Caitlin Punko, Anuka. And then we have some separations, Joshua Gaddy, Megan Johnson. Each changes would be Kelsey Pierce, Samantha Garcia, Mary Mullins, Justin Miles.
I think you're out of order. Mary's a big change, not a termination. I think you're.
Well, thank goodness. That's kind of sorry.
Maybe the top sheet got wrong.
Yeah. Wait, change. I'm in wait change. Where did separation? Separate. Yeah. So we're in wage change, Justin Latin. Cassie Harris, that's a separation. Yeah, they are mixed up.
I don't know.
Yeah, please. So we had, Weldon Turner. Guessing that's a wage change, I hope.
Yes.
We'll get appointed order when you loop back around.
Yes, ma'am, because Walter Hooton is not separating, correct?
We'll
That
catch
would
that
be-
one at the end.
Yeah. We just lost half our employees. Waiting for that. All right, discuss interaction on bonds. So these are some bonds that Miss Susan found that we didn't have, that we needed to have. On Caitlin Colson, she's Judge Tom's clerk. And so we got her bombed up, she's ready to go.
Yeah,
All in favor, say aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Observe and record county auditor FY 24 report.
I think some of y'all had got back with Teresa, this was a big book. We are gonna scan it and have it on a thumb drive, and then we'll have Philip put it online. But somehow we have to get a record for Nicole, so we have to generate a few books, so I know she's happy to store it in her office.
You want much? You want my copies?
We have, I'm gonna give her this one. Going through, I had, just. The first is our letter, we're supposed to give you, show you the change in every fund that we have. In our books, and that's what we've done, and we've given you a report on the tax levy, the amount of outstanding bonds. And other liabilities, so if you get past the table of contents, the first page is just how we set the rate for last year's budget. This for Martin's got his, and there you go, Jim. That's it, and that shows what our tax rate was. That's not the current tax rate, but the prior year tax rate from where we are now, and the levy, percent of levy and collections of those. And then the next kind of is a history of our bonds, which we found we were comparing it to our audit report and they had it slightly misstated somehow through the years and it got copied. But anyway, in November of 20 is when we issued the bonds to pay off our original refunding bonds that we issued in 2010. And then in 22, we borrowed money specifically to do the Covington Street Annex. And we borrowed $2,560,000. The balance at the end of September of 24 was $2,875,000 for both the 2020 and the 2022 bonds. The 2022 amount of $315,000, we're going to pay that off this August. So we will be left with the 2022 tax note and then the capital leases. So we have the next page is all the capital leases. So it's, we had some of those grouped together, but this is the format that the auditors had on the worksheet. It was easier just to drop it in than to combine numbers and put them together. So in capital leases at the end of September, we had $3,006,000. Now, the good note about that is the combined indebtedness of the bonds and the capital leases. I don't have that on there, but I'll show you another schedule in the book, was $5,881,000. In this current fiscal year, we're paying $1,505,000 off, and our balance will be reduced by $1,500,000 to be $4,375,492 at the end of this current year. So that's just to take off $1,500,000 is quite an accomplishment. We haven't added. There's just a few things that we added at the first of the year, I believe. Anyway, then we went and put our last investment report for the year in there. And then the next page just talks about our budget. Some items to note on that. Let's see. Page here. Here we go. On page 10, the page 8 is just our original budget, how we filed. And then page 9 is the budget after it was with the amended budget figures. And then page 10 was our actual results. Just the items to note on that is we started in total of all of these funds, $11,416,854. So we were about $1,400,000 above what our original budget when we were estimating the beginning balances, or when they were estimated. I wasn't a part of that process. They were estimating at $10,093,437 for all of the general, road and bridge, indigent health, etc. And the budget thought we would end with $7,400,000 in reserve, which we actually, in all of these funds, ended with $11,986,010. So most notably was the general fund. It was originally budgeted to begin with $8,145,000, and it actually began with $9,816,042. So the general fund itself did use a little bit of its reserve in fiscal year 24, about $150,000, but it started with a much higher balance than anticipated. On page 11 is just the budget after it was amended. with the actual figures for 24 and the differences. The overall budget was to be reduced by 2,242,000, and we actually overall increased 569,156. And then on page 13 is just a comparison of where we're running with compared to the prior year. With overall revenues of 30,885,000 for 2024 compared to 28,270,136 for 23, and the expenditures are over to the right. We spent 30,316,281 compared to the prior year of 27,489. And those numbers below are just what the actual 24 revenue less expense was 569, and the prior year was 781,104. And then the next page is, no, I was trying to put, there was different things to think about, but I thought it was significant that we expended the balance of the American Rescue Plan funds in 2024. The total funds we received were, including interest earned on them during the years, was $7,470,314. And then I listed what those funds were spent on. We spent it initially on some software, and we purchased the 505 Waco building for $241,000. Expenditures for AgriLife were $2,343,000. The Covington Annex, what we spent out of the rescue plan funds were $3,479,000. And then we invested the radio towers and communications of $1,003,000 of the rescue plan funds, rescue plan funds, I guess I want to say. And then the Covington Annex was completed in March of 24. So the $3,479,000 was from the rescue plan. We borrowed the money and spent $2,520,000 on the Series 22 tax notes. And then out of the Hill County budget for 23-24, we spent $1,167,870. And lastly, I've got down there the sales tax, the overall sales tax that was budgeted for, I've given you 7 years compared to actual, and the difference is if we were greater than budget, I said that was a favorable difference. It was kind of shaky back there in 2020. We didn't know how things were gonna shake out. Usually we exceeded our budget, but we did not in 2020. Of course, that was unforeseeable. I looked at how we're shaping up now with the Buc-ee's less the rebates. We're pretty close to the fiscal year 2024. It'll just, I don't think we're going to have a lot more than that. We're about, I think we'll collect less than 5 million for this year, which we had 4.7 million in 2024. Let's see, and I did want to tell you, there's some more information on the debt. It's way back under, I think there's a tab for capital debt and other. And the first page, that's of the last section, has the Series 22 tax notes, which those funds were expended. We only had a small amount of interest on that, but the sheet in yellow is our interest and sinking fund. That's page 294. And that's where we deposit the money to pay for the Okay, that page isn't in here, so I don't have that on there. Anyway, this is just where it stands. At the end of 2024, there was 105,275 to start the year. So I guess if you want to look at the debt, look in that first section before the general. Capitulation pages, all of these funds are in yellow. They're copied onto the yellow shaded sheets, so. We've got a tab for general. General fund is mostly all yellow. Of course, road and bridge. And the special revenue funds, we only have indigent health, law library, jury in those. Then we've got juvenile and adult probation together, and then capital debt at the end. Anyway, that was it looked good. A good year. Get to get it behind us and on to 25. Now, if any of you don't want your books, this is for Nicole. I marked on mine. Who doesn't want a book? Pass that to Nicole. And we're gonna prepare some thumb drives. We'll have Philip put it on the internet. And that's what we have for you today.
Good work.
Thank you very much. That's a lot of work.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, discuss and/or action on budget amendments. I've got a budget amendment from Miss Susan.
I just had to. Or just what I suggested, in going through all this, we noticed the appraisal budget line was short 58,000. And as we get toward the end of the year, I wanted to go ahead and move 58,000 from contingency to pay for the appraisal district fees for the rest of the year, because I'm sure the contingency funds are gonna be getting popular toward the end of the year. So I have
Heard that word a lot.
we kind of need to know what's available. And the insurance, they'll be bidding on that in June, and we pay that usually by the end of June or the first part of July. So we'll know, right now we just have estimated numbers. We don't know. That's usually a $100,000 bill by the time it's gone through the wash. Anyway, so we have the appraisals, increasing appraisals, decreasing contingency by 58,000. And then we have on the jail, we just misbudgeted. The jail didn't have anything in their capital lease budget and should have had 18,541. It was put in the sheriff capital lease line item. And so I just was shoring those up to show where they were paid from. For 18,541. Any of y'all need it? He's covered.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Discuss and/or action on quarterly investment report. Ms. Parker? I have a copy.
What else? Or somebody's copy.
I'll let you borrow my copy. It's good.
So we have the March investment report put together here. The summary on the memo page, cash management earnings 106,989.69, and CD interest for the quarter was 61,277.51. Then the next page just goes through the funds, showing where those were, the balance at December 31 to 3/31. The top section is your Wells Fargo accounts. The next section is the Citizen State Bank funds. We have 167,977 at the end of the quarter, drawing 0.90%. The next page was Texas class. So at of course, at the beginning of the quarter, December, we had 6,671,649. And then in March, we collected our tax money. We were up to 11,367,486. And the average interest rate was 4.49%, or $95,837.60. We're really at a fortunate time for us for interest rate. We went for a long time where we got zero and practically. So we do have a little bit of money in the Texas class government fund. We just have 12,797, and that earned an average of 4.27%. Adult probation has a money market fund of 89,000 at Citizen State Bank, and then on the last page is the CDs, how much is owned by each of the funds, and the maturities. We had 3 CDs of $1 million that were maturing in April, or that matured April 28th and 27th, and those were reinvested for 6 months at 4.42%. And I've got your schedule of maturities there. But overall, funds invested at the end of March 31 was $28,334,851.46. Thank you.
Have a motion? Second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We're gonna discuss interaction on Hill County unemployment fund rates for 2026.
Good morning. So in your packet, you should have our permanent unemployment fund for payroll. They use a 4-year look back period of all of our unemployment claims to obtain these numbers that we pay every payroll. And there is a slight increase, as you'll see. Other than that, it's a minimal impact to our future budget. We've been doing good at keeping our unemployment claims down.
Any questions?
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Discuss interaction on CrowdStrike conference hotel rates.
Yeah, this is the CrowdStrike conference that Melissa and Wendy attended last year. It's the same one this year. Self and Melissa were gonna go. The conference rates are, and I can't remember what the exact number is. It's a few dollars more than what we authorize. I think we've seen this as a pattern where, hotel rates are a little more than, they're going up.
Yes, they are. We had one of these last month, I think. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going. Any questions? I have a motion.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. I think we might need to discuss that this way. To be realistic with.
We're gonna be doing this every meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Discuss interaction on hotel occupancy tax fund balance. Nobody. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next 6 items are what we talked about. The hotel tax.
Right.
So can we take up those 6 items all together at once, because they are all very related. Okay, so we've got the tax fund balance, we've got whether we're gonna cease collections or not on the hotel occupancy tax. The GovOS, which is the software to collect that tax, the contract with THLA, contract with Ms. Hemrick for doing the website, and then paying GoDaddy for the domain. That's all what we're talking about right now.
And this is not the state mandated 6%. This is the 3% that the county put on, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you guys get Susan's memo last night with all of her
So,
recommendations?
Miss Susan has a plan to cease collections, and disperse. Because we have around $170,000, $175,000 of taxpayer money.
Right, so my thought was this tax, they pay it to us quarterly, the people that have the Airbnbs, vacation rentals and so forth. So they've already collected April and May. So they're gonna have to remit that to us by July 31st. So my thought is somehow we have to notify them to quit collecting the tax. So if we set an end date of June 30th, we would have the month to tell them, you know, June 30th, quit collecting the tax. And then they will remit it through, my thought was just go ahead and remit it through GovOS. Continue that contract till August 19th, so. The end of the quarter is June, they have till July 31st to pay. They already have their platform for paying. So without the GovOS platform, we would have to send out. And get them to fill that out manually and send it to us, so I thought it'd just be easier to extend the GovOS platform till August 19th. Or whatever that, I believe that's right at the date to end it, so they would have their final tax payment in. Now, dispersing the funds that's collected. Besides 173, we have another 800. Another 8,000 that hasn't made its way from the tax office to our coffers. Then we'll have the collections for April, May and June, so. You know, there's gonna be, $180,000 or so dollars to figure out what to spend it with. And I sent y'all an attachment of what the money can be spent with, so. We just, says the thing that was stressed, it has to directly promote tourism and directly promote the convention and hotel industry. So those are the goals of the money, and then they list some specific things.
So that could be a monthly advertising or whatever till we spend that down.
Yes, and it will stay in that fund, it won't go to the general fund, but, I think we wanna find the best use for it, there was. Some different ideas in there, it has to do with the arts, you can do signage to promote to direct people to where the museums are, to, different things. But I think we probably need the judge or y'all to appoint a committee, maybe get some people from the public. I was thinking Art Man, I haven't called him or asked him, but he's been in economic development, he might have some ideas on how we could spend those funds. Or, Jessica True, put together a plan to see how we can most effectively, we're gonna promote tourism to our county, so we want it to be wisely spent dollars.
Texas monthly always has a lot of ads from towns and cities,
Yeah.
a little bit of everything, so you could run some ads on Lake Whitney a few times and probably gobble that up.
Anyway, that was.
Is everybody, I'm gonna recuse myself from the vote because I have an Airbnb, but we all agree that we want to terminate this.
I'm in favor of terminating.
I'm not a fan of taxing folks if we're not giving them a money.
think we need to hold off on number 8 till we find out exactly what the balance is gonna be before we decide to do what we do.
I agree, and I do like the idea of having some type of committee, maybe Ms. Tanner can put that.
Yeah. Like,
The calls can do something.
Or maybe not, I don't know. So we'll do, you want to table 8?
I would table 8 till we find out
Let's table
exactly.
8.
Dollar amount.
And then we'll get in touch with some folks and like Miss Susan suggested and see if we can't put together a committee. So number 9.
Number 10, we have to put a date on it, correct?
So that, you said June 30, so Susan,
August 19th for number 10 was my recommendation.
So number 9, approve the cease collections of hotel occupancy tax for Hill County effective
June 30.
June 30th. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
All opposed? Motion. Yes, let's see. Here.
Yeah, the phone.
Correct.
You the phone.
No, that
That's
one's 9.
That's the one you want.
8 we take.
Just not sign it, because I refused.
This goes with that.
Yes, it goes with it.
All right, the next one is the approval to cancel GovOS month-to-month contract effective. The date on here is 6/19/2020. Okay,
Make a motion.
all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval to terminate THLA contract effective 5/27.
So we pay for a whole year. It's not a prorated contract. It's actually past due right now. It's around $5,000. I think it's a good use of the taxpayer money that you're gonna have to go ahead and promote THLA for the remainder of this year. And you're not running it next year.
Just not bringing in.
So just let that expire in September.
Any questions? Any discussion? No motion?
terminated at 9:30.
Well, it was
Just let it expire.
yeah, technically we terminated over 9, so. Motion is second, all in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Is that something that automatically renews once we get a notice?
I can get over
Number 12, discuss interaction to terminate Sherry Hemrick from website hosting services of www.texasgatewaylocation.com.
Make a motion.
Second.
effective
Any discussion?
date.
Effective date 5/27/25. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. And this is approval to terminate GoDaddy for the domain hosting related to the hotel occupancy tax for Hill County. We have a website.
You have to lay that up. Is that the portal that they pay on?
No, this is the website that we're.
I'll make a motion.
First, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. See,
Who is that affected? Immediately.
that is.
I appreciate it.
Today. All right, we're at number 14, discuss and or action. To terminate the line of credit for a Home Depot card, 15 is for a Walmart card, and 16 is for a Tractor Supply
I'm not asking for action today. I think we just need to have some discussions to start guiding this program. So we manage Home Depot, Walmart, Tractor Supply, Citibank, John Deere, several others that have lines of credit. These three cards in particular, they are physical cards that individuals hold in their wallet. And then we have our Citibank cards. And the struggle is all these people are keeping up with 3 or 4 different cards, or they have to come to my office to check some out if they're not a current card holder. And then I'm stuck in the middle because certain offices get to hold their Citibank cards, certain offices don't. And then I'm asked, well, why does this person get to hold it and I can't? So it's just a whole mess. The cards that I check out, we do get receipts for. When you turn them in, you have to have your GL code on there with your receipt. But it creates a lot of issues because, like, if you're not in this building, you have to travel from Huron or Malone. You're having to pay someone mileage to come get a card to bring it back. I just don't feel that we're being a good steward of our taxpayer dollars in that regard, and it slows down the process. So we just need to find somehow to make this more efficient, where it's more streamlined and meets the local government.
We voted 7 years ago for the commissioners to have their own cards, and we never got one. So
But other office holders do have them. So that's my concern, is why do some offices get them and some do not? And like a couple of weeks ago, Lou had an emergency on a Saturday. I was in Temple. I was not readily available to come up here and meet him to give him a card. So I had to get Tom or Officer Jackson to meet him, which takes time out of their day as well. And it's not, their departments. The sheriff's office has several cards that they get to keep with Citibank, but then like Nicole can't. So why can you, why can't you? What is the issue here?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
That's the same.
The credit cards are supposed to be used for travel, things on the internet that won't take a PO, that you can only use a credit card for. They're not supposed to be used to go down to Fleming, or, if they'll take a charge from us, if they'll take a PO from us, then we wouldn't want to use the credit card. I think we can get together and look at Denton County has a procurement card. Some notes that they've given us on how they set their limits per department. And as I was looking at it, we have 40+ credit cards. We went from 7 or 8 at Wells Fargo to now we have like 40 of them, with all have a $10,000 credit limit. So we need to get some structure and get those limits down for the people that don't need that, and review if they're gonna have a P card. I don't know what the glory of having a credit card is if all you're using it for is travel. Most people aren't gonna need it for many other things. The sheriff is gonna need it for more things. If it's for emergencies, or, we have to protect the public, and the sheriff is always gonna have more need than any other department. They run out of water at the jail, they run out of bread at the jail. They're gonna have to have items that on an immediate basis that others aren't gonna need. But I think we can sit down together and work through it and get a policy. It's crazy for her office to hold 40-something cards.
Well,
It does.
I think the commissioners, I won't speak for everybody, but I think our need for that would be for supplies in the middle of a repair, or something like that. If we're on a weekend out cutting down trees, something breaks down, we've got to go to Tractor Supply and get it repaired right then on the spot. We don't have to hunt 14 people down to get it done.
And me having that many cards is really a lifesaver, because if you're at a conference and we only had 7 cards and all y'all were needing a card, and Nicole comes in and says, I have a conference I need to go to, I don't have a way to give her anything. Now I do. And it's also where if she's traveling with 2 people in her office, they're not riding together, they don't arrive at the same time, one needs to leave because of an emergency, they each have their own card. It actually comes in very handy to have the multiple.
So your thought here was to do away with the Home Depot, Walmart, Tractor Supply, and just consolidate everything in Citibank.
Right, with some parameters, like Miss Susan was saying, you can't use it for everything. We should just have a streamlined process of what we can use that card for. The most common things is website fees, postage, vehicle registrations, business cards, flag repairs. At the sheriff's office, you have the global view, the food handling, Zoom. Workers' comp, the urgent care doesn't partner, so I just pay it. Workers' comp reimburses me back. It's great. They don't have to travel very far, and they've been very gracious to do that for us. So you see the same charges just over and over every single month. Website hosting, things
Yeah,
like that.
we had a difficult time with the tax office getting our vehicles registered.
Mhm.
If you can believe that.
What's your struggle? Cause I do.
If Danny goes in there, they don't, number one, they don't recognize him.
Mhm.
They treat him like a second class citizen. And that just shouldn't be tolerated.
So we go over a lot and we never have any issues with them. Julie or Lori take our credit cards over and we'll register anybody's vehicles. Works really great with the sheriff's office. And they don't have to take time out of their day to do that. I get the renewals, so it just makes sense for me to renew them with their approval. And so I hate that you had that experience, but I have really good experience with renewing.
We've gotten our vehicles inspected and gave it to Rachel's office, and 2 or 3 days later, we're out of that.
So we can streamline your process, absolutely. So I just want to start the discussion. Like I said, I don't expect any action today. I just wanted to talk about it, and this is where we can openly discuss items. I do think we need to get on a better path because I am often stuck in the middle of why can't I keep my car when others do,
A Tractor Supply card would be handy,
and some don't.
but most of the time you either get it at an auto parts house or Fleming's or West Hardware or, something.
Yeah, you have
like
charge
that.
accounts.
Yes, they have accounts.
But if it is, you're working on a Sunday and something breaks and those aren't open, you go somewhere you usually don't do business. You'd have to use your own money and then wait to be reimbursed. Like I said, I just want to start the process of something we need to talk about that is a problem.
Do you think it's a conversation that needs to be had? I have had questions come up as to why I can keep my card and I can't,
And also the
or I
security.
can keep this one and I can't keep that.
Right.
I got a Walmart card, but I can't keep my Citibank card. That's an odd question.
Sure, in the security of the Citibank, I get a text message and an email for every single purchase. And I can reply yes or no, this is valid or not. Nicole just took her card. She called me when she got to the hotel. It wouldn't work. She needed a code. If it goes over $900, it immediately declines and it texts me a code. I have to give you a code to make it work. So it's very secure. I can go in and wipe out all the limits like Miss Susan was saying. So maybe, your office needs the $10,000 limit and Jim's might need a $5,000 or $1,000. We can modify all that instantly and I can turn off cards very quickly.
Feel like there's another committee coming. I mean, to identify, I don't think my office needs a $500 limit, but you guys, we need a tire or who knows what on the side.
We're not gonna tire for $500.
That's what I mean. You get a motor grader tire and you're gonna spend a little more than $500.
Well, and really the outlying offices that aren't in the courthouse, like Miss Skilling's office, she would have to drive over here, pick up a card, go back, secure her hotel room, and then drive back over here to bring me the card back. Then come back over when her conference is here to pick up.
So is that in our policy? How did we?
I don't know.
How did the-
We want them to check them out. I have no idea who has.
We just do it.
We need to have the rules
Okay.
set for. Yes, that's okay.
If that's something we can all get together.
I need to
on,
have a discussion
That
about
would be great.
So I guess we'll snag a commissioner, put a committee together. I'm sure one of you will volunteer for that. Yes, sir.
Anybody discuss raising our limit? We can't get a hotel for a person less than $2,000 most of the time. And it cuts off $900, it's embarrassing.
No, it's a security feature. It just texts me and I just have to give you a code. It's a security feature. You have $10,000.
But what I'd like to do is have some representation, or even, we can't get a person from every office. But at least if we put a committee together, we could communicate with every office and see their needs. my office is not gonna need that much. Your office will definitely need that much. So we'll work that out. So as far as 14, 15, 16, I'd say we table those until we have a committee put together.
Second.
I don't think there's any action. So we'll table. Number 17, discuss interaction to change employment status for Mr. Clark, increasing weekly hours from 30 to 40. Mr. Clark is our radio, Jackson. You're here.
So, yeah, he's the,
Step up to the microphone. Not one minute.
gotta make my bosses. No, so Chris Clark, he was hired originally as part-time. Believe it was sometime last year, we got him up to 30 hours. And now since I've gone over to the sheriff's office, there's money there. So trying to see if we can get him up to 40 hours, preferably if we can get him just under the position I left if possible. And then also figure out, is he staying there? Is he going over to sheriff's office? Where does he report to and that kind of stuff if it shows.
So what is his position now?
What is his position? Right this
Currently,
second?
yes.
He is a
Radio.
public safety communications technician. So he helps program radios. When he was hired, his goal was to learn the radio system to take over that side of it whenever I transition. And so now I've transitioned to a different.
So we have no radio manager.
Essentially, right now it's split between the two of us. So if I'm busy, he does it. And it's just like, he does a lot of things on his own time. And
So what I would propose, gentlemen, is that you take no action on this, and then I'm going to hire Mr. Clark as a radio manager, as that's a position under me.
You don't.
And right, we don't have to bring that through court. The difficult part of the conversation, I guess, is he emergency management or is he working for the sheriff? If I hire him as a radio manager, then he will work for me. And the sheriff's office right now does not have a position for that. Now, I would like to revisit that during budget session.
Yeah, my own concern would be the wealth of knowledge that you possess that you can't transfer to.
So that's
I mean-
why, like, for instance, yesterday, when the tower went down, I was the one there with Chris and he was watching, observing, learning. So the information is still gonna be passed on. I'm still here every day. That's still one of my primary jobs. I mean, even over the sheriff's office, that's what they've said is, you should do everything you need to do over there. So it's not gonna hinder anything or prevent anything.
Yeah, I would think as long as there's some kind of a tangential relationship there.
You have to be friends.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, in the perfect world, it would be nice to just
do this.
Yeah. It would be nice if we could just say, you come with, then because that way, because over the sheriff's office, that's what I am now, so mobile communications there. So we just need to merge the communications all together.
I would like to discuss that during budget session. So for 17, I would like to take no action. I'd like to take no action and I'll be hiring Mr. Clark, assuming that he accepts it.
I'm pretty sure he'll accept.
I think he's on the line, so. Assuming that he accepts the position as the radio administrator, is that the correct term? Number 18, discuss interaction on contract for Texas LISO program. Sheriff, this is 1033 program. Oh, sorry, Chief.
Morning. Texas LISO program is also known as the 1033 grant program that the U.S. Department of Defense runs through, I believe, the state of Texas, which disperses, thank you, various pieces of equipment to local law enforcement on a local level. In our case, we are currently in possession of a number of small arms rifles, both semi and fully automatic, that the sheriff's office has been in possession of since the days of Brent Button. These rifles are ancient, but they still function. We still have them in our possession. We're going to keep them in our possession in good working order. We would like to keep them in good working order and in our possession going forward, just in case of need or use for whatever reason going forward. Additionally, we also have an MRAP, which is it's termed as a mine resistant ambush protected vehicle. I don't know if you've seen that big monstrous vehicle we have under a canopy back there. A little bit of backstory about that. That has also been here since, I believe, Jeff Lyon was sheriff. Prior to that, we had an APC that was basically a tank. I'm sure Armstrong will remember the tank. I think he used to be the driver of it back in the day. But we got the MRAP in place, the APC. The MRAP has a number of issues now that mechanically, and I think the majority of it runs off air pressure. I think continuous air all the way through it. It's broken in a lot of ways that we haven't had the time to assess since Sheriff Barnes took office. We don't know exactly what it's going to take to fix it or how much, but if I were a betting man, I would say it's a lot more than we're willing to spend just to have something that we have use of periodically. I'd look to Liso to actually try to get rid of the MRAP to maybe exchange it for something more practical, something that we could actually use for tactical response, anything like that. Basically got shot down. It is more difficult to return equipment, in my opinion anyway. It's more difficult to return equipment to the government than it is to receive it.
Yeah,
They don't want it back. Exactly. So they basically told me, hey, if we ever have a training scenario come up down at Fort Hood or Cavazos, Fort Cavazos, I think it's what it's called now. We'll call you if we want to blow it up one day and we'll come get it. But if you want to just ship it back to them, it costs tens of thousands of dollars just to have it towed from here to Fort Hood. Cavazos, sorry. Anyway, so the LISO program is basically what this is. It's small arms as well as combination of the MRAP that we have down there. The sheriff's office has been engaged in the 1033 or the LISO program for decades at this point, and they have done so continuously for a long, long time. We haven't obtained any new equipment than the original equipment that was probably approved by a previous commissioner's court decades ago. We're still sitting on the exact same stuff. We just wish to continue utilizing this program for the sheriff's office should we need anything more going forward, or actually being able to return that MRAP at some point, because in my mind it's great to have. Financially, I don't think it's a good idea that we put the money into it to repair it and try to go forward with it, because eventually it's just going to break and it's going to become a money pit, my opinion. So the request here today is basically to get the approval from the court to continue on with the LISO program as we've been doing for years and years.
Make a motion. Discussion.
So what do you do to the small arms upgrade? Do you do anything with those? You just maintain them? They won't take them back and exchange them.
They will, but that's also a process. So, and a lengthy one too. You can alter the firearms that they give you. I believe some of them are semi, some of them are fully automatic capable, the AR-15s anyway. You can take them apart, take the uppers, take the lowers, whatever you want. You can doctor them up and build them however you want them. You have to keep the factory parts. That way, if you ever actually do resubmit them to the government, you have to submit them back, as they were received. You'd have to take all your parts off.
You take your parts off.
Right. We had considered doing that. The problem is fully automatic weaponry being available is always a great thing as far as being a standard issue weapon to our deputies. We're not looking to do that. We believe that a semi-automatic rifle worked just fine. Fully automatic, if it's needed during major tactical scenarios or something big going on, sure, but that's not an everyday thing with what we do. So having it available to us is a big deal, but for everyday use, the sheriff and I don't believe that it's extremely practical.
I'm pretty sure my dad's M16 from Vietnam is in there.
Yes, and
They're old.
I would bet they're Vietnam era.
Yeah.
AR-15 rifles. They're pretty old rifles.
Not that Vietnam is old.
No, several of them are mini 14s as well. Yeah.
I am familiar with the MRAP as well, and it's got some significant mechanical issues that makes it completely unusable. The doors itself weigh 500, 600, 700 pounds, and they're at this moment not air powered.
Correct.
So you usually on an MRAP, when you open the door, you just grab the handle and opens, like Batmobile, just opens for you. These, you have to use your entire body weight because it's not functioning. Makes it very not tactical all of a sudden.
Correct. Not practical either, but
So I have a motion, a second, and we had discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
thank you.
Yeah. We just, that's neat.
Sorry. Do you have a copy of this, Jerry?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
I heard. All right. Discuss or observe and record 2024 audit for ESD 2. The gentleman from ESD 2 brought this to me last week, and they just wanted to see it. They're doing very well. Did everybody get a copy of it?
No, sir.
Here you go. So their board of commissioners did approve this on May 15th, and they encouraged us if we had any questions for them, that we could give them a holler. ESD 1 actually dropped theirs off today, and we'll be running it through court next. So.
I assume they had no findings.
No findings. They're doing very well.
I'll make the motion, so just. Observe.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Discuss and or action on selling salvage surplus equipment for Good County IT.
Yes, last court, I believe the court authorized to declare this equipment surplus, and so this is just kind of the second step, which is to authorize us to be able to get rid of it. And we typically have used Cadets auctioneers, but recently we've had more success, more money with Frank's Metal Recycling. So we'd like to use Frank's Metal Recycling if approved.
Make a motion.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Bill. Last but not least, discuss and or action on trading in a 2007 International 4300 water tank truck for a 2007 9500 water tank truck for County Commissioner Precinct number 2.
Yep, and I got an ad on this truck here last week. And I asked him if he would do a trade deal, and he said, yeah. And anyway, we've run a little 2,000 gallon water truck. I didn't know 10 years. And I gave 36,000, 38,000 for 10 years ago. Anyway, that's $50 short of offering me 18,000 trade-in after 10 years of use. So the difference is 43,000. I have it in capital outlay to do that project and increase our capability to start processing the road when we're ready to get one ready to chip seal. I make a motion.
I don't know if we all do this. Yeah. Scotty and I talked about this, maybe if we get to use.
Friends like these.
That's okay. I remember that. You got roads chip seal, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
My farming's sick.
I got a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion. All right, and we're gonna run back real quick to the wage and status changes are separated. Thank goodness is way smaller. Josh Gaddy and Megan Johnson
So you had two separations
Two
instead of
separation.
12?
Correct. And then the wage changes are Kelsey Pierce, Samantha Garcia, Larry Mullins, Dustin Malcolm, Cassie Harris, Weldon Turner, Walter Heaton, Cameron Ferguson, Lori Miller, Miles, and Panuka.
Make a motion.
Second. Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And now, Commissioner Crumpton.
Make motion adjourned.
Second.